And we're going to wait for some people to come into the room. There's 202 people here right now, so let's wait for people to come in. What's up, Spicy Sarah? What's up, Tech Tie? Swamp, Zulu 1, the Wave Slave is here, Free from Who. Okay, so we got 202 people here, and you see Dave up there on the screen. I'm going to be talking to Dave Weiss real quick from the Flat Earth. Dave, do you see it up on your screen yet? Let me see. Let me refresh my page.
I do. I believe
cool.
I do.
All right, let me do some minor adjustments here, guys. I don't want you guys to get any reverb. Virus Untreated is here. Your Panic 1. What's up, guys? Thanks for being here. I'm pretty excited about this, and I gotta admit, I'm a little apprehensive too because my IQ level when it comes to flat Earth is probably near kindergarten level, or maybe before kindergarten, I'll admit. And I want everybody to know up front, I love doing interviews. This is not a kamikaze interview. Every question I ask is from the heart because I really want to know the truth. I don't want to be lied to. I know you guys don't want to be lied to. There may be some people out in the audience right now who are solidified on globe Earth. Maybe you've in the past vehemently resisted flat Earth. Maybe there's some flat earthers that so vehemently resist globe Earth that you make enemies instead of friends. Here's my deal on this planet, okay? While I'm here, I want to spread as much good as I can while I'm trying to sort out what the truth is myself, because let's face it, we are all on a journey. Wisdom isn't going to begin and end and die with me. So all these questions I want to ask, and also I want to fire up the live stream call in so you guys can ask your own questions of Dave right here. If you have objections, all I would ask, guys, and this isn't a command, I'm not issuing an edict. All I would ask is that we do it in a spirit of kindness and gentleness and basically love, because our world is falling apart, and I think it's vital that we all get together and unite against our common enemy. So Dave, welcome to the show.
Ryan, thanks. I've been looking forward to this discussion for a long time, and it's great to speak with open-minded people like yourself that are really pursuing the truths. So here we are, and we've all been where you are. It's like if the flat Earth is true, the deception is true, the globe lie is true. It's the biggest deception ever. It's bigger than anything because it affects every single person every single day of their life, and we'll get into it. But for the new people out there, we're going to go over some stuff. But then you're going to ask yourself, why the lie? Why would they lie? And that's the big question. And that's the most important thing that I want to bring up today.
Okay, so guys, put a 1 in the room if you can hear Dave okay, because I want to make sure before we get into this thing that the audio the audio is good and that the video is good. So if the audio and video is good, if you can hear me and Dave, just give me a 5 by 5. J Law says 1. Nice you're having Dave on, says Compla 12. All right, that's a lot of 1s. Everybody can hear okay? Good. That's the last thing I want to give you is poor audio and video quality. So, Dave, by way of introduction, for anybody who is not familiar with who you are, where you come from, give us just a little bit of your background and how you got into Flat Earth.
Yeah, so I worked for corporate America and started a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, where we looked into all of the deceptions, and one day Flat Earth came up. As I've told the story 100 times, I refused to look at a 1-minute video. Finally, I was forced to look. I tried to prove the globe, and 5-6 years later, I've quit my job. I'm doing this full time. I realized that this is the most important topic because it connects to everything else that's going on in the world. And once people see the flat Earth, nobody ever goes back to the globe. As a matter of fact, you kick yourself in the pants going, how did I ever believe that? Because the mind control over globe Earth, it started from before you can talk and continues every single day of your life. So let me start on the end from the beginning. Let me start with the tough stuff. What is the number one proof that you can talk to a globe earther and convince them that the flat Earth model is legit? Well, anybody, that takes a real hard look and stops believing and just realizes, okay, that's a belief, has no support, and knowing, so the top proof is, for me, is we can see too far. If the Earth is 24,901 miles around, like they tell us, there is a curvature rate where over a certain distance, the surface of calm water should drop down below the horizon. But we can see too far, according to globe math. Okay, we can take a camera 1 foot off the edge of the water, foot in the air, and the horizon, according to globe mass, should be 1.9 miles away. But we can see oil rigs at a known distance, or wind turbines at a known distance, 10, 15, 20 miles away. And not only can we see them, we can see the water surface beyond them. Okay, and you shouldn't be able to see any of the water beyond that horizon line of 1.9 miles away at that height.
Okay, now what do you say to
too far.
What do you say to people who? And I've seen a couple of YouTube videos, and again, I don't have a dog in the fight, so I haven't landed on any of this. What do you say to people who have taken that boat out, 3, 4, 5 miles, and they put I think it was Discovery, I'm not sure, but they put this big flag.
National Geographic.
Was it National Geographic?
Stripes?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The red and white stripes, and it looks like they demonstrated that the boat is basically sinking from view as they try to pull it in.
There. So let me explain what that was at the Salton Sea. We were doing a flat Earth test with a distance sighting, and National Geographic came, brought their own cameras. They had a little boat. They had this stripe, looked like an American flag, and they had a camera about a foot off the ground, and the boat went away, and the stripes, as it's going away, the bottom stripe disappeared, and then the next one disappeared. And they said, oh, that's because of Earth curvature. But what they didn't realize, if you look beyond the boat for miles, you can still see the surface of the water. Right? If the flag is missing behind the curve, you should not be able to see any water beyond the boat. But go back and watch that video again. You can see the surface of the water beyond the boat. End of story. There is no curvature. Water at rest lays flat. Now, there was some little waves and stuff, and those waves were getting in way, just like you could hold your finger out and knock out an entire city landscape, skyline. That's what was going on. The water and the atmosphere just above the water was blocking the flag, and it was kind of like compressing, but you can see the surface of the water beyond the flag, just like I was describing with the windmills, the wind turbines, and the oil rigs.
Okay, so you're saying, do you think they set out to be dishonest in that demonstration then?
Yes, 100%. They lied also when they showed the helicopter landing in the distance and it went below the curve. We broke that apart, and you could see that they faked it. They have the 3 birds fly by when it was landing, and then when they were taking off again, the same 3 birds flew by again, right? It was completely, purposely deceptive, proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. And all of that is, we have videos, and I'll show you where to find all of those videos so you can find for yourself. Don't believe me, look at the evidence. The problem is people are lazy and they don't want to look. They just rather believe.
Okay, I have a personal question because when I was in college, I had professional and instrument pilot rating, and all the pilot rating and the navigation equipment, as far as my mind, was based on a globe Earth model. How does it work for pilots to actually create a flight plan and go from one city to another using a globe model? If a flat Earth is true, it seems like they would never make it to their destination. How does that work?
Well, Brian, I've never heard of that. All the international flight routes are controlled by NASA. They're all done by NASA. But an airplane flies over the Earth plane in straight lines. It doesn't have to nose down. If you're flying at 550 miles an hour, you'd have to nose down a mile every 2 minutes just to maintain your altitude, or you'd fly off the ball. Okay, which doesn't happen. The map that they use is the AE azimuthal equidistant map. And if you look at flight routes on those on maps, they prove the Earth is a globe. For example, if you look behind me here, can you guys see that? Yeah. So here's the flight route. This is a little farther, but from Santiago, Chile to Australia. Now, Australia is at the, is down, here's Antarctica, here's Australia, and here's, over here is Santiago. If you wanted to fly, you can fly over Antarctica, or you can just stay around 50 degrees south and fly around the bottom part of the ball and get over. But instead, they fly all the way up, all the way over, and all the way down. And the reason they do that is because on a flat Earth, this is the same route. It's a straight line, right? So, in NASA manuals, disclosed NASA manuals, the FAA manuals, they say we treat the Earth as a flat, non-rotating plane. We have tons of videos showing you all of those documents where it says the Earth is a flat, non-rotating plane.
So there's no, in the flat Earth model, as far as you see it, there's no spinning at all whatsoever?
The flat Earth does not move. The flat Earth is not a disk in space. You know, if you go and say, okay, I'm going to research flat Earth, and you Google flat Earth, YouTube, ScrewTube, and Google, Scroogle, is going to put you at the Flat Earth Society, which has all crazy stuff. It has a disk in space with all other heliocentric, ball planets around. That's not what any flat earther believes. It says that gravity is because the Earth is rising at 9.8 meters per second. No flat earther believes that. The Flat Earth Society is controlled opposition. It's so if anyone lands there, Obama mentioned Flat Earth Society half a dozen times in his speeches. Wonder why that is. If you go there for 5 minutes or any longer, you will laugh at flat Earth and you will refuse to look at it. It's a gatekeeping site. So
okay, actually, I'm kind of glad. Okay, so there are factions within people who say they believe in flat Earth. Let me ask you something then.
No.
Oh.
Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
No flat earthers. There's difference. Some people think there's a dome. Some people have different ideas of what a dome is. Some people think it's an endless plane. But nobody believes what's on the Flat Earth Society. That is not for flat earthers. That is for people that are like, I wonder if flat Earth is stupid. You go there and you think flat Earth is stupid. Nothing on there is what we believe.
Okay, so this guy I got up on the screen, is this guy legit? I can't remember what his name is, but they kind of highlighted him in this National Geographic thing that I was watching last night.
Which guy? Oh, Mark Sargent. Yeah, Mark Sargent's 100% legit.
He is? Okay.
He is. So there was a movie called Behind the Curve that Netflix bought, and that was also very deceptive. There was 2 tests that were done in that video, and they were both misrepresented because the people there, the flat earthers and the globe supporters, walked away going, the test proved nothing was conclusive, and the movie made it look like it proved curvature. When in fact it didn't. It's equivalent to saying, hey, where are you, Brian? Where do you live? What state?
Oh, Oklahoma.
Can you see my house right now? I'm in Connecticut.
No.
Okay, but that's because the Earth is curved, okay? That's literally the logic that they used in this movie.
Okay. All right, so do we have any questions in the in the chat room real quick? I got another real quick question, and I'm seeing people going, this is BS, I'm out of here. Come up with your questions. If you say it's BS, let's test David here.
I have a cash reward for them. I'm offering $1,000 for one proof of the globe, just one. Okay, and that's for real. I'm good for it. On my honor, $1,000 for one proof of the globe. But if you say photos from space, well, show me the photo from space, because NASA admits they don't have any photos from space. If you say, seasons, well, explain to me how seasons work, because I could explain to you how they don't work on a globe. And they only work on a flat Earth. Time zones. Well, time zones make perfect sense on a flat Earth. There's so many things. Seasons make 0 sense on a globe. Can I spend like 3 minutes showing your listeners what the flat Earth is? Because the people that hate flat Earth don't know the globe and have a misconception of what flat Earth is.
Yeah. Go for it, man. Go for it.
So what I'm about to show you, if I can find my Skype, because I wasn't ready for this. Where is?
That's all right. While you're getting set up, somebody, you want to field a question while you're looking at it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody was saying if there's flat Earth. I'm sorry, guys. DLive does not let me save chats here. So somebody said, and you'll have to remind me who it is, guys, in the chat room. If the Earth is flat, what about asteroids?
Have you ever seen an asteroid? They say that these giant craters on Earth are from asteroids, but they're all perfect circles. We see, we saw a couple of years ago, supposedly an asteroid coming in, a meteor coming in Russia, and they all come in at sharp angles. So that would leave long gouges, but they're all, perfectly circular craters. And if you look up methane craters, I think in northern Russia, or there's a bunch of places that have these active methane craters, and they literally bubbles coming up out of the Earth, creating these giant craters exactly how we're seeing these other ones.
Okay, so what did you find out what you were looking for, Dave?
I'm wondering why I can't find my Skype. I probably minimized it. Is that it? Did I minimize it? I see my Skype, but I don't. I'm in. I don't know. Let me just try.
Guys, while Dave's looking for this, get your best questions ready because in about, 20 or 30 minutes, I'm going to open up the phone line so you can personally ask Dave a question. I'm going to limit all phone calls to just asking Dave flat earth questions. Keep your ad hominems. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm in a position of learning right here. Here's my dilemma, okay? I know so little about this, and I have such little scientific background that I'll go to a National Geographic and I'll listen to them and I'll like, God, that sounds good. And then I'll go to Flat Earth and I'll be like, that sounds plausible. Geez, I don't know exactly where I land. So I can't land on anything because I'm one of those people. I just need something conclusive. Give me something conclusive.
I'm going to help everybody because let me tell you something. National Geographic is the mainstream media. Do we trust the mainstream media? No, we do not.
But at the same, I don't trust mainstream media. But at the same time, we have to remember that they do also use truth as a psychological operation to promote their lies. So
correct. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, we can.
All right. So this is the app. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Okay. So just real quick, the flat Earth is the basement of the universe. That's how I'd like to describe it. We are, look at the entire world as a big pond, okay? The world pond, I call it. And the shoreline of that pond is Antarctica. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. That's what they don't teach us in school, but that is, you can look it up. So when you get to the shoreline, you can see my mouse. If you go, the center of the flat Earth is the North Pole. Okay, so the North is at the center, and if you go away from the North, that's south. If I go this way, that's south. Every way I go is south, and when you keep going, you get to the edge of the lake, and that's Antarctica. There's a 200-foot or so, give or take, ice wall, and then there's a ice plateau that goes on for hundreds of miles, and then it hits a mountain range that's taller than Everest. Okay, they don't teach you that. So
how do we know that, Dave? Where's the conclusive proof for that?
There's stuff in old encyclopedias that talk about it, but there's tons of photos and videos of Antarctica, the ice wall. People say, "Show me the ice wall." Well, just Google Antarctica ice wall. You'll see thousands of pictures. You can't. It's not something you can deny. But let me just talk about circumnavigation. Circumnavigation. People say, "Well, I'm here in America. You see my mouse, and I'm going to go 270 degrees, which is west. 270 degrees is this way. It's a circle because remember, my compass has to always point towards the center here. So I'm going 270 degrees. I'm dead reckoning west, west, west. I've come all the way through the Middle East, Africa, and guess what? I came back to where I started. And people say that's proof of the ball. No, that's proof that you went around the neighborhood. Okay. I can also go from America. I can go north, 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 past the North Pole. I'm now going south, 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 south. I'm in Indonesia. I just crossed over the top of the globe or just the center of the flat Earth. Both of those, all three of those, east and west navigation and crossing over the center is possible on both. Doesn't prove either. But what would prove that the Earth is a globe if somebody could go south off of the tip of Santiago, for example, keep going south and then pop up over here in Australia. Nobody has ever done that. Nobody has gone south and popped up on the other side. And that's because the Earth is flat and you can't, because south just brings you away. And then the problem is in 1957 or 59, whatever the year was, they came up with the Antarctic Treaty because even before there was anything about conservation, they said, we must protect the penguins and the ice. Nobody can drop a cigarette butt on this pristine ice. And so all the countries in the world signed on to this, and it goes until the year 2041. And you're not even allowed to question the treaty. No corporation, no independent travel, nothing. No one is allowed to explore the outer reaches of Antarctica until the year 2041, where they'll kick the can down the road even farther. So that's weird because you have to save the ice and the penguins, but we can chop down the Amazon and plant palm oil trees, right? So the sun goes around once every 24 hours. I'll spin it a little faster, and that marks the hours of the day. The moon goes around once, the sun laps the moon once every 28 days approximately, and those mark the months. If I slow it down, I'll put the stars on. The stars are going just a tiny bit faster than the sun, and the stars mark the moons mark the months, the stars mark the seasons, okay? So this constellation here, the sun is moving into it. Is that Taurus or whoever that is? And then a month later, it'll be in this one, and a month later, it'll be in this one. So this will lap the sun once a year. So think about this. Let me just go back a little bit. What was I going to say here? The Earth, do you know how fast the Earth is supposedly spinning?
What is it? 66,000 miles per hour?
Well,
or 1,000 miles per hour.
1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah,
it's orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles per hour. And it's chasing the sun at over 500,000 miles an hour, right? While all the other stars have all of their movement, but somehow, like if you go mark the stars in the sky tonight and say, okay, I made a little chart here, and go back out this same night next year, or in 10 years, or in 20 years, or 50 years ago, those stars are in the exact same position. They do not change at all. So that tells you that it's not us that is moving, that the stars are above us in fixed position, spinning around over the flat Earth.
All right. So real quick question on this map right here. You have the sun and the moon, and basically you're saying the moon laps the sun once a month, correct?
The sun laps the moon
once
a month.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. Okay, so if you were to look at the Earth on a plane, what does that look like? We're looking at this from the top view, correct?
Right.
Okay, so what if we look at it from the side view? What are we seeing here on the side view?
When you look at it from a side view, did I stop sharing? I did.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you an image. When you look across, perspective will merge the sky with the ground. The farther higher you are, the farther you can see. But standing at sea level, just 20 or 30 miles, the clouds will be touching the horizon as far as your eye can see. But, you can zoom in with a super zoom camera and open that up. But here's a picture of the Earth at 120,000 feet. So that's what the Earth looks like. The sun is small and close to the flat Earth. It circles around. We don't believe that the sun is even physical. To say what it is a lot of speculation. Anything above as high as we can reach or get in a craft, or anything beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation. But there's lots of tests that you can do to kind of prove these things out.
Okay, so in relation to where the sun is in this photo that you're looking at right here from 120,000 feet, where's the moon?
The moon is probably, I don't know, it could be the other way. I'm not sure.
But the bottom line is they're above the plane, correct? Both of them are above the plane.
Yeah, both of them are above the plane. I personally don't think the moon is a physical object, and that can be, proven. There's times when there's a crescent moon and you can see either a planet or a star inside that crescent. Well, that doesn't make any sense if the moon is a solid object, a solid rock, like they tell us.
So if both the sun and the moon are constantly going around above the plane, then how does one explain from the flat Earth perspective a lunar eclipse?
Yeah,
what is creating the shadow? Right. Because supposedly the lunar eclipse, right, is the Earth getting between the sun and the moon and causing a shadow on the surface of the moon, correct?
Supposedly.
Yeah. So what is it that's causing that shadow during a lunar eclipse?
Okay. So let's use our minds here for a second. Here's the moon. Okay. We use my head. My head is the Earth.
Okay.
Okay. I'm standing right here on my head. I've never done this before. So everyone's point of view, you're always at the top of the Earth. So here's the moon, and here's the sun over here. Okay. If I'm standing here and I'm looking and I can see the moon above the horizon and I could see the sun above the horizon, could the eclipse be happening already?
Well, if it is, the question is what's causing it? What's causing the shadow of the eclipse?
Well, there you go. But there's many eclipses. They're called Seleninian eclipses, where the eclipse will start coming in from the top, and the viewer on the top of the Earth can see both the sun and the moon above the horizon. So what that proves right there is it's not the Earth, okay? The other thing is we're brainwashed to believe that only a ball can create this curved shadow on another ball. Well, you know what? That's not even true. A ball cannot create the perfectly curved shadow that we see when the moon eclipses. Because if you take a ball and a light and cast a shadow onto another ball, as you bring that ball into the field of the light, it comes on as a big ellipse, like a narrow ellipse. And then it comes up and then it spreads out and then it leaves as a narrow ellipse. But if you took a flat, book or, just a straight edge and brought it on that ball, the shadow would be curved from a straight edge. Now, I'm not saying a straight edge is causing it. I don't even believe that it's a shadow. I believe that the moon is its own light, okay? Look at this moon right here. This moon on a full moon night away from the city, where there's no other lights, you can read a newspaper. Not that you would, but you could, if you wanted to, read a newspaper. Agreed?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the moon is casting shadow on the ground. Now look at this picture. I know you know the moon landings are garbage, but look at these guys. They're standing on this dusty, dirty ball, but we're supposed to believe at 238,000 miles away, it's this bright, okay? That doesn't make any sense. Another thing they don't teach you in school, it's called the inverse square law of light. If you have a light that's, let's say the moon is 1 lumen, okay, where it's actually brighter than 1 lumen. If you go halfway to the moon, it's 4 times as bright, so it's then 4 lumens. And if you go half of that distance, it's 16 lumens. And it keeps quadrupling every time you half the distance. It's called the inverse square law of light. It works in reverse also. It's getting dimmer. So if you use those numbers and you get to 100 miles from the moon, where the astronauts supposedly took this picture of the gray, dirty, dusty ball, it would be brighter than the friggin' sun. It's like 10 million lumens. I forget the number, but if you keep quadrupling it, it's a number so bright that, not only could you not take a picture, your camera would probably melt, right? So the idea that this is reflecting sunlight and it's a sphere, take any sphere, take a single source light, take a picture of it, and it wouldn't be evenly lit from edge to edge. It would have a hot spot right in the middle, and then it would fade out to the ends. But this is its own light. The moon, in my opinion, and many opinions, is its own light. The truth is, Brian, every light we see in the sky is within the Earth system, okay? It's within the Earth system. And what they are, how big they are, how far they are, is a guess. The only thing you can truthfully say is that they're lights because we can see them and there's light coming off of them. The moon, like when we see Venus, Venus could be, they tell us that it's almost the same size as Earth. It could be the size of a basketball, okay? We don't know how big it is, how far it is. We don't know anything.
So just to pin this down, what is it that you believe is causing the shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse, and what causes solar eclipses?
Yeah, so we're talking lunar eclipse, and first you're saying it's a shadow. I don't know if it is.
Well, what causes the dark? What is it that you believe this is causing the darkening? I'm just using shadow just to throw it out there.
Yeah, no, I got you. There's some cosmology from I forget who it is, but they believe that there's other dark bodies in the sky. There's all sorts of stuff. I don't know because I can't prove it. I hate looking up at the sky. Do you have I don't know what kind of room you're in right now, but do you have lights in your ceiling?
Yes.
You do? Look up at the lights and tell me what shape the floor is. Okay.
Okay. So the answer.
You can tell me about the lights in the ceiling, but they have nothing to do with the shape of the floor.
Okay. So the answer is you don't really know what causes the darkening of the moon, whatever it is, shadow or whatever, during a lunar eclipse.
Brian, this is interesting. Look how bright the moon is, and when the moon goes to a new phase, that's when there's no more light on it. Before it starts waxing again, the shortest time that anyone has been able to spot the moon after it went new was just over 40 hours. It's almost 2 full days. No space station, no men on the moon, no cameras in high altitude planes, no one with any special infrared lens. No one has been able to see the moon, okay, when it went new. Now think about this. That moon is reflecting sunlight. That dusty, dirty gray ball is reflecting sunlight back to the point where we can read a newspaper or, and it casts a shadow. The Earth is 6 times larger than that moon, supposedly. Much more reflective. It's got water. It's much more reflective. How come the Earthshine doesn't light up the moon so we can see it? No one's seen it. Once it goes new, nobody sees it for over 40 hours. So the moon is the biggest mystery in the sky on a flat Earth and on a globe Earth.
Okay, getting to some questions here in the chat. Let me just ask real quick. Is there a way using the flat Earth model to make predictions? For example, when somebody when the Weather Channel or whatever makes a prediction about, hey, you're going to be able to see the lunar or solar eclipse in this area at 10:11 a.m. and at 10:16 you're going to be able to see it in this area. How can they accurately predict using the globe Earth model if it's wrong?
Yeah. So, have you ever heard of the Antarctic mechanism? So, off of the coast of Greece, some divers found this old 2,000-year-old like watch type device with gears and all stuff, and it's all coiled over. And they
is there a picture of it on the internet? What's it called?
It's hard to find, but I have it on my channel, DITRH. I have it. It's called the Antarctic mechanism. But basically, it shows the positions of the sun and the moon and all of the eclipses and the positions of some of the planets. And the lunar cycles, the eclipse cycles, are on an 18-year cycle. Did you know that? They repeat after 18-point-something years, again and again and again. It's a cycle, and it's been predicted for long before anyone thought the Earth was a globe.
Okay, I'm pulling that picture into view right now. Is this what you were talking about? Let's see. Let me bring it over here.
The Antarctic mechanism, yeah.
That thing right there?
I don't see it yet on the D Live. There it is. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Okay, so what are you saying this mechanism proves?
It shows they rebuilt it. They actually took it and they built it, and it shows you where all of the eclipses happen and when they're happening and exactly where you can see them.
So that's the rebuilding of it right here. This left-hand deal. Is that what that is?
Again, I'm a little bit behind you, so
okay.
We'll have to see. Yeah, the thing on the left, on the top left.
Okay.
That is I think that's it. There's a couple of them they built, and someone's actually trying to make it into a watch, but it's very expensive.
And so what you're saying is somebody rebuilt this mechanism, and by that technique or by that little gadget right there, they can predict accurately like where you can see a certain eclipse in a certain hemisphere or whatever.
And it goes on what's called the Soros cycle. There's 2 different cycles. And the eclipses are predicted. They repeat. So this cycle was figured out a long, long time ago, and they're just using that to predict where everything is. Think about this. Come on. We live in this solar system, solar system. We'll talk about that in a minute. And everything has gravity. This giant sun made out of helium has enough gravity to hold the Earth over here. Okay. So the Earth is falling around the sun as it's whizzing in 3 different directions at once. But it's falling around the sun, and the sun's gravity is holding on to it, right? But the Earth is holding on to the moon's gravity, okay? So the moon is falling around the Earth. And so when the sun is over here, and the moon is over here, and the Earth is over here, and the moon is in between the sun and the Earth, how come the sun's gravity doesn't rip the moon off the Earth? Or at least tug it a tiny little bit? Remember, the sun is holding on to the Earth. The moon comes in between that tug. It would tug it just a little bit and pull it out of place, but it doesn't. All of the planets, the lights in the sky, also used to be called wandering stars, and the moons, they follow an exact path. They follow a cycle like a clock. The sky clock it tells everything. If we lived in this explosion of stars and galaxies all pulling around, it would be like a friggin' beehive. There would be no sense, no order to it. And NASA is unable to, or nobody can make what it's called the three-body problem. You can take, hey, I've got a sun, I've got this much gravity here and this much gravity here, and it'll predict it perfectly. Throw in a third body, and the whole thing falls apart because it starts pulling it, and everything, the cycle just stops. And that's because gravity and planets and moons, they're nonsense.
Okay, if somebody was going to take a snippet of this video right here, what is the most important piece of knowledge you would want for people to actually take away from this conversation? What is the most valuable flat Earth teaching that you can, give to somebody that would convince them, hey, you got to step away from the globe Earth. Here's the truth about the whole situation.
Well, you're asking two different questions. The proofs are, we can see too far. The second law of thermodynamics says you can't have high pressure next to low pressure or a vacuum.
How does a globe earther explain that right there?
Explain what?
What you just said about the second law of thermodynamics?
I'll explain that right now.
Okay.
So the second law of thermodynamics says you can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier. They tell us space is a vacuum, which is the ultimate low pressure. Okay. And the Earth is got this high pressure. We live in high pressure. We're breathing air. If I took a bottle and I sucked as much air out of it as I could, and I put the top on, that's not a vacuum. That's a low pressure system. It's just lower pressure than the air outside. I could hold it upside down, and at any altitude, I could open up the cap, and it will suck air up into it. If I stuck the nose of it into water, it would suck water, which is much heavier than air, up and away. So for someone to say that gravity is holding the air to the Earth, and that's why the vacuum of space doesn't suck it away, is the lamest thing anybody could ever say. So there's no experiment, there's no way to prove that you can have high pressure next to low pressure. So they tell us space is a vacuum. I don't believe space is a vacuum, okay? I believe that space is liquid, and that's a whole nother thing, a whole nother rabbit hole to go in. But you can't have high pressure next to low pressure, so that's it. I mean, that's the end of the space story right there.
Okay, is there a quick way that you can, maybe give a demonstration of or proof of your assertion that space is liquid?
Well, again, it's out of my reach, but there's a rocket, an amateur rocket they launched out of Arizona called the Go Fast rocket. And these amateurs launched it, and it went up 73 miles. And it went up, and it started spinning really fast. So it had a camera on the side looking out, which is spinning, and a camera looking down, which is showing the Earth, spinning because it's spinning. It went up really fast, went up 73 miles, and all of a sudden it went kerplunk, and it sounded like it went into a thicker medium. I don't know if it was exactly water, but it was a viscous, thicker medium. And by the way, the camera, it immediately stopped spinning. It's floating around, and all of a sudden you can see the moon. You asked where the moon was, right? It can see the moon. Well, at the time of that, there it is. At the time of at that launch, the moon was over Australia. Okay, know your geology, your geography, and you'll see. If you turn up the volume, it makes a very cool noise.
Yeah, I was going to play that. Okay, here we go, guys. In case you, this is what Dave's
a little bit.
This is what Dave's alluding to right here.
Yeah. Can you back it up a little bit so they can hear the kerplunk?
It hasn't hit yet.
Oh, because I can't hear it. Oh, I can't hear it because I have the volume down. So watch it go, and then watch for the moon. Watch for the moon. Probably like 5 seconds. There it is. Boom. Now watch. It's going to turn sideways. Hopefully this isn't the short one where they cut it. And as soon as you can see across the Earth plane, you're going to see.
Right there? Right there?
No, it's coming. I can't really see. Hold on, I'm looking.
Is that the moon right there?
Again, yeah. So that dot there it is. That's the moon. Yep, your mouse is on it. So that's the moon. Well, that moon is over Australia. At the time of this, that moon's over Australia. Ball debunked right there. Okay.
Now you're saying, okay, so what are you saying caused that sudden kerplunk stop? Here, I'm going to play that again because a lot of people haven't seen this, believe it or not. Let's see. Here, you guys, if you listen, I'm going to be quiet. Listen to the kerplunk. Wait, it just happened. So hold on. Let me stop talking. Here we go. Listen. All right, you heard that kerplunk right there. Okay, so what are you saying that is, Dave? That's the water that you're talking about?
First, I'm saying that doesn't prove that the Earth is flat. That proves that it hit something. Again, Brian, I can't get up there. I don't know. But if you look at NASA and all of their terms, everything's nautical. The sea, the oceans on the moon, everything they talk about in space is nautical, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, and Brian, I'm not a Bible guy, but I do the Flat Earth podcast, and my co-host, Matt Long, he comes from the Bible side of Flat Earth, and the first page of the Bible in Genesis, it said God separated the waters from the waters and created the firmament. So, we know that there's primary water below the earth. I believe there's primary water above the earth, above the firmament. Brian, this is out of my reach. So we have our ideas. When we look up, with telescopes and super zoom cameras, we see not what the Heliononsensical model wants us to see.
Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is before we open the phone lines, Dave, do you think there's anything important that we need to hit on?
Yeah. So why the hell does the shape of the Earth matter? There's more important things going on in the world. We got this COVID nonsense and war and all of this stuff. It's all about deception and it's all about control, Brian. So they want us to believe, the heliocentric model says nothing exploded, created everything, and then lightning struck on Earth and created an amoeba that turned into a fish that grew legs, that found another fish that turned into a monkey that turned into a human, right? And that we are lost on a tiny speck in outer space with trillions of other specks, and that we're in a godless or distant God universe, okay? And where a meteor or an asteroid could hit us at any moment. We're running out of global warming, terrorists. We're running out of resources, running out of food. They want us in fear and not knowing who we are. They want us to believe that we're insignificant, when the truth is we are at the center of creation, right? This place was created for us. We are spiritual souls having an experience here with God-given free will, and they can't take that from us, but they can trick us into giving it away. They tell us what they're doing. If we don't say no, that in their book is us saying yes, okay? So if they think, if you think that you're spinning out of control, lost in space, you have given away your power. You can't make a good decision, right? You have given up your divinity for basically a satanic model of the globe. I mean, NASA was created to make you think you live on a ball, right? All of this stuff, the Antarctic treaty, the Van Allen radiation belts, they put a fence around us, they put a fence over us. They told you live on a prison planet, but in truth, we live on this expansive, flat, amazing, beautiful plane.
Okay, so you have in the background of your green screen right there, like what looks like the flat Earth model with the dome over it. I was doing some research before we did this today, and some people say that the sun and moon are outside the dome. Some people are saying the sun and moon are inside the dome. What do you say?
Yeah, so I and again, above my reach, this is speculation. When you look up in the sky, I can see the sun within the dome. I can see the sun that I see inside the dome. Now, is the source of that sun within the dome? I believe that the source of the sun is like a light above the dome, a projector. And if you, I can't pull up a video right now, but if you take a glass dome and hold a pen light above it, you look inside that dome and you'll see what looks like a little sun floating in the sky. And if you move the pen light straight across that dome, you'll see the sun rise and set within the dome. So I believe that the sun and the moon that we see are projected. Their light and their energy is projected to inside our dome, which explains why when there's a new moon, no one could ever see it, because there's no light being projected into our reality. The moon, I believe, is still there above the dome. This is me. Not everyone believes this because we're trying to figure this out, Brian. But if you look at the moon in a day sky or even the night sky, you can see that there's more sky beyond it. Okay, you can see blue sky beyond the moon. If you look at the sun above the clouds, when the sun is coming down, the sun rays aren't coming in. They're straight up and down. They're coming in as corpuscular rays. They're spreading out. And so that tells you that the sun that we see is local and small.
Okay, Rocky Amherst has a question for you. Is there a firmament dome? And what happens when NASA launches rockets? And the third question he has is the sun fake?
Is the sun what?
Fake.
Fake. I don't know what the sun is. The sun is a reflection. I was in Vegas poolside, and the sun was about, in the mid-afternoon, was off to my right, pounding on the right side of my face. It was really hot. And the hotel was all way off to the left, but it was a mirrored hotel, and the sun was reflecting off the mirror on the left side of my face. I was like, wow. And I closed my eyes, and I was trying to see which one was hotter, and they were both the same temperature. So that tells you right there that a reflected sun can project heat. I mean, I could not tell the difference just by trying to, feel the heat on either side of my face. What was the beginning question? Is there a firmament?
Yeah, is there a firmament, and what happens when NASA launches rockets?
Yeah, so when NASA launches rockets, which is another rabbit hole, the rockets go up, they curve over. Within a minute, they're showing you a cartoon on television, and they crash into the Bermuda Triangle or out at Point Nemo, depending on where they're launched from. And they're out of sight, and they go into the ocean. Nobody is on those rockets ever.
I kind of wondered what the heck the deal was because didn't they just recently do a Tesla SpaceX rocket launch, and it does the same things they all do. It takes that trajectory where it's no longer going straight up in the air. As a matter of fact, I've got the SpaceX launch on the screen right now.
Brian, nobody could survive those launches. It would have to be increasing, 200 miles an hour every 3 seconds. Okay, but you got guys in there with little canes pushing little buttons. It's the most retarded thing you've ever seen. Okay, if we could show you that on the space station they're faking gravity by using harnesses and wires and CGI, virtual reality, if we could show you that once, that shows you that nobody's in space. And we could show it to you 1,000 times.
And that right there, Dave, is what kills me about when National Geographic or Discovery Channel does these one-sided, lopsided interviews, and they never ask about the CGI. Why are you photoshopping the Earth? Why did you admit that, quote unquote, you went to the moon, but you lost all that technology and you'd go back to the moon in a nanosecond, but oops, we don't have the technology anymore. Nobody asks those kind of questions, and it really, really bugs me. So what is the velocity of, you see SpaceX on the screen right here. What is the stated velocity? See, right now it says it's Mach 1, but don't they go up to Mach?
That thing has to go 17,500 miles an hour to catch up to the speed of the space station. 17,500 miles an hour is unfathomable. Nothing can go that fast. Okay, think about this. A regular 747, regular jetliner, it's got the big blunt nose. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows what a plane, a jetliner looks like, and they go about 550 miles an hour. Okay. Then you got the Concorde. Remember the Concorde?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? It had that needle nose, swept back wings, very streamlined. That thing can go Mach 1.3, which is 1,300 miles an hour, or whatever it is. And then you have the SR-71, which supposedly can go Mach 3.3 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that thing, when you look at it straight on, is literally like a razor blade. Right? It doesn't even have any paint on it because the paint will burn off because the outer temperature gets up to 500 degrees when it's flying. When it lands, sometimes it's that hot. Okay, that's Mach 3.3. But then now think about the space shuttle. Remember the space shuttle with the big clunky orange tank and the nose, and it's got pipes on the outside. It's like PVC. It's got all sorts of non-aerodynamic things. That thing goes Mach 25. Okay, So that thing that you're showing right now, look how streamlined that is. It can go Mach 3 something. All right. Now pull up the space shuttle. Okay. Just look at a picture of the friggin' space shuttle, and that thing goes Mach 25. You got to be. It's literally they're laughing at us.
Well, they would say the reason it goes Mach 25 is because of the rocket boosters, right?
Well, it doesn't matter. The aerodynamicity of it is impossible. It would rip to shreds. Okay, so people have a emotional connection to the space shuttle because of the Challenger, right? And the Challenger was trauma-based mind control for every kid. It was the first time they dragged televisions into every classroom across the country and around the world. And they all got to see all of those astronauts die. But check this out. Out of the 7 astronauts, 6 of them we think are still alive, teaching at universities, and they claim that they're not them, that they're their identical twin. Okay? 6 out of the 7 are their identical twin. Well, the ballers will say, well, NASA likes working with twins because they can test their bone density, the ones that went to space and the ones that didn't. But think about this, and this is all you need to think about. A twin is closer to you than a normal regular sibling. Your twin is even closer to you. There you go. There they are. Not one of those twins showed up at any of the funerals. Okay? None of the twins showed up at their twin's funeral. End of story. They're lying. I don't want to say any more on this topic.
Okay, I'm going to open the phone lines up, guys, real quick right now. So the call in is 918-410-9174. That's 918-410-9174. Real quick, while we're waiting for these calls to come in, how about the scale of maps, Dave? Like a lot of people are objecting to the flat Earth never has a scale of the maps. But if you did a scale on Google Earth, which takes the globe Earth model, it's highly accurate. So what do you say about the scale of maps?
We don't have an exact map, but as I showed you on the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and ZODIAC Clock app, the sun travels around in a circle, and that map is the UN map. It's the map that they use for navigation. They're fooling us with longitude and latitude, and GPS follows curved lines. There's probably swaths of ocean out there that no one could ever get to because GPS won't allow you to get there. So what they're referring to is Australia looks very stretched out. It may be, maybe it's not. I'm not sure. I haven't gone there. But if you look at the flat Earth map compared to the globe, where none of the continents are the right size, to me, it's more accurate.
So is there a flat Earth map that you can go to that does have like a legend where it says, 1 inch equals 100 miles or something like that?
Well, the Gall Peters map, what's it called? I'm spacing on the name of the map. Someone will write it in the chat. But that one, it shows, they say it's a projection of the globe. I think that the globe is a projection of that map. Again, I'm not a cartographer. I haven't done it myself. We've been, discovering this for, just the last 6 or 7, 8 years. And, we have a lot to learn. But you know what a lot of people say, Brian, is we've known the Earth has been flat, a globe for 500 years. Aristophanes figured it out with sticks and shadows. You know the story of Aristophanes with the sticks and shadows where he measured, right? Well, he was a mathematician, lived 500 years ago, but he isn't in any books written by other mathematicians. He's the most famous mathematician in the world, discovered the shape of the size of the Earth, but he's not mentioned in any books until, ready for this, the 1980s, where he first shows up in a Rockefeller textbook, okay, that goes into all of the schools. His story, by the way, works perfectly on a flat Earth. You got 2 sticks, right? If I got 2 sticks right here and I got a sun above one of them, this one has no shadow, and this one with the sun has a shadow. I can do some calculations and tell you the severity of my table, but in reality, it's flat, and I'm just doing math, and we don't live in a math equation.
Okay, guys, the phone lines are open, 918-410-9174. I can't believe, is my phone on? Because usually people just start calling in like crazy. Let's see. Come on, you guys got to have one question for Dave. Yep, I got.
The other thing is, I interviewed back in January. I interviewed a 102-year-old woman. I was interviewing her about the World's Fairs, which is a whole nother, thing. It's not what they said they were. And she was telling me specific stories about her 5th birthday and Sally and her purple dress and the cake and who was upset over what. And I was like, wow, this woman has an amazing memory. And I said to her, and I never mentioned flat Earth, I said, what did they teach you about the Earth in elementary school? And she told me the name of her teacher and everything. And she goes, they taught me that the Earth was flat, but then they changed it. In the 1920s, in a Connecticut public school, they were teaching flat Earth. We found another woman in Croatia that lived in Croatia in the 1930s. They were teaching flat Earth. So saying that we've known the Earth is flat for 500 years, a globe for 500 years, is a lie. It's a lie. They were teaching flat Earth into the 1920s and 1930s, and that's when they changed everything. Wars, depression, all sorts of stuff. They reset. When we went into Iraq, where's the first place we went, Brian? We went into the museums. Why? Because they have stuff in those museums that they don't want us to see, and they're removing them, right? There's proof. There's tons of proofs. Everyone check out John Levy, JONLEVI channel. He does these 20-minute videos about Tartaria and what was here and when the reset happened. He's finding places that are just incredible, proof of a much more advanced civilization back in the 1800s.
All right, we got our first call. Sorry, guys. The reason you guys couldn't call in was because my Google Voice was on Do Not Disturb, and I had to go in the back end. Okay, so here's the first call.
Taylor.
All right, you're live on High Impact TV with David Weiss from deep inside the rabbit hole. What is your question for Dave?
Hi, David. First of all, let me say I'm a dedicated flat earther, have been since 1993. People think I was crazy for saying that, but I said water will never lie to you. And when I was on my boat in Lake Michigan, I put it in at Diversity Harbor, went 80 miles northeast, and was still able to see Lakeshore Drive with the car's wheels on the ground. Where's the curvature, right?
Right. There is no curvature.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
What you'll probably have to do is you'll probably have to use your headphones to listen to Dave's response to you, because you may not be able to hear it. You won't be able to hear it on the phone.
Okay. Well, I guess my question is, what is the biggest hang-up from people not wanting to believe the Earth is flat and that we've been lied to about everything in this world?
What was the question, Brian?
What's the biggest hang-up for globe earthers not to latch on to the flat Earth position? Is that accurate, caller? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's the question, Dave.
He's asking where globe earthers can hang out to hear globe information.
No. What's the biggest hang up for globe? The hang up. What is prohibiting globe earthers from latching on to the flat Earth position?
Right.
In your mind,
there's two types of globers. There's some that are purposely out to deceive, and their hang up is probably money. But the other one is ego. We've been programmed. When you realize that the Earth is flat, you have to also realize that the government is here to protect you. You have to realize that the entire foundation of your world belief is wrong. It's easy to fool somebody. It's very difficult to convince them they've been fooled. So that's the biggest hang up, ego. People accuse flat earthers of saying, "Oh, you're unwilling to learn anything new." Oh no, I'm willing to learn something new. I let go of everything. I took 4 years of astronomy in college, and I was great at it. Complete and utter nonsense. Okay, it was all garbage. It's all garbage. But willingness to let that go and look at provable scientific data, it's there. Again, I offered $1,000 to
hold on, Dave, hold on one second. Hey, caller, well, you'll probably, I'm kind of the moron in this situation, so I don't have the technology to be able to, have you hear his audio. So if you could listen to what he's saying to you on your computer, is it possible for you to do that?
I only have my cell phone, man. man. I have no way of getting the Biden to come back on the show with the phone call active.
Gotcha, man. I'm sorry. It's my fault. Maybe what you can do is
I'm glad to see that you're finally checking this out. Okay.
Yeah. Is there a way for you to maybe hang up and listen to Dave's answer on your computer?
Yeah, I do it on my phone.
All right. Cool, man. All right. Take care. Thank you.
So check this out, just real quick. This is an image, a NASA image of the Earth, and if you look at it, this is what we see. So
Hold
all
on,
of the other continents
Dave. Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
are on the other side of that ball.
All right, caller. I'm going to put you on hold real quick. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just saying that, this is a picture from NASA. They don't call it a photograph. They call it a picture.
Right.
And all of these other continents are on the other side of that ball. It's just nonsense. They're showing us cartoons.
Now, let me ask you a question. Why do you think they're doing? I mean, what did they say their reason for just giving us photoshopped images is? And how did they produce photoshopped images back in the 1960s when they claimed to have went to the moon?
The first image, there's only one image. There's only like an image from the first image, I think, was the blue marble. And NASA admits, this is the blue marble right here. NASA admits that it was done in Photoshop. The artist's name is Robert Simmons. He told about how he made it from strips of data. He added color here, and he goes, oh, there's algae here, so I made this blue. Look at the clouds. They're stepped and repeated, okay? They're the same clouds. It's Photoshop or painting, realistic paintings. They used computers when they had them, and they did it by pen and brush before that.
Right.
Not many pictures of Earth from space.
Yeah, and
NASA admits it. Here, this is it. And NASA won't even stand behind some of those. But I believe it's this one, and I forget which other one. And the far one over here. Oh, my arm disappeared. These two right here.
Hey, your arm disappeared. That's like a NASA trick. That's like a NASA green screen trick.
Interesting, right?
All right, hold on 1 second, Dave. Okay, caller, you're live with Dave Weiss from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. What's your question for him?
Hey, Brian, man, I absolutely love your work, man. I'm what we call a voluntarist myself, man. So you align a lot with my beliefs, man, and I love your work. Thank you very much for having the courage to bring on David Weiss on this live stream. So I have two things I want to say. Number one, who is the largest purchaser of helium in the world?
Okay. I have them ask both questions, then hang up, and I'll answer.
It's NASA.
Okay, ask your second question, and then just to be fair to you, so that you can hear Dave's answer to you, you'll have to hang up and just listen to it on your computer. But what's your second question?
Yeah, I got D-Live on another device, so I will listen. Number two is look up Google Loon and Sataloons. Dave will tell you the rest, my friend. Hey, love your work. Thank you very much.
Awesome, man. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for calling in.
So NASA is the largest user of helium in the world. I believe they buy up any helium company that starts, mining a lot of helium. NASA has a balloon program. He just named them, and they send up satellites up to 8,000 pounds on these balloons. They can stay up there for over a year, right? There's tens of thousands of them up there. Well, since we fund NASA, how come we don't hear about this? How come it's not public? How come, it's not that they're hiding it, because you can find the information. Just look it up. Just look up NASA balloon program Antarctica, and you'll see some launches that they do down there. So they can put these things up on balloons. So that's what, satellites are. There's nothing falling around a spinning globe Earth. You have to believe that a satellite falls around the Earth, and it's just the gravity's holding on. It's falling around while the Earth is flying 66,000 miles an hour that way, 500,000 miles another way, and this thing's just falling around it. And there's other ones that are at the Lagrange point, which means that it stays over the same. I think it's called the Lagrange point. It stays over the same point of the Earth. It's a geostationary satellite. How the hell is that possible while the Earth is traveling in three different directions at once? It's not. It's all pseudoscience bullshit.
I'll tell you what, you're making me want to do a flat Earth versus globe Earth debate. Have the best globe Earther and the best flat Earther. Just answer these questions. That'd be awesome.
We're happy to do that, but the globe Earthers that you're going to get are these paid zealots that just literally they're I don't. Go ahead. You can set it up. We'll do it. But it's pathetic. They actually sink themselves every time. It's the dumbest thing ever. But happy to do it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to me. I'm sure you'd be all for it. Okay, caller, you're live on High Impact TV. What's your question for Dave?
Hey, Brian, this is Flatten NH. How are you, my friend?
Good, man. Thanks for calling in.
What I wanted to bring to your attention, you were talking about rockets a little bit earlier, is what no one ever discusses and what never shows up anywhere is exhaust velocity. It's the stream speed of the exhaust that's going to dictate the overall speed of the actual rocket. And you're never going to get anything faster than 5,600 to 7,200 miles per hour exhaust velocity based on the type of rocket, whether it's liquid or rocket fuel. So this 17,500 mile hour speed is never attainable. And I'm on board with that with Dave. It just doesn't happen. They can never get it to be that fast. Never talk about that, but that's an absolute vital piece of information to disprove the fact that they do say they travel 17,500 and they can never, ever get there. End of story.
Dave, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah. So
hold on one second. Hey, Flat, New Hampshire. You wanna hang up and listen to Dave's answer on your computer? All right, man. Thanks. I appreciate you calling in.
So I've been looking for that term, exhaust velocity. I was like, how fast does exhaust come out? It doesn't come out 17,500 miles per hour. And so it would have to come out faster than that. Think about this, Brian. A hurricane, you ever been in a hurricane? Pretty
never.
Crazy, right?
Never have been.
Okay, so a hurricane, that's like 150 mile an hour winds. That's a devastating hurricane. And a tornado is like 300 miles an hour wind is a devastating Category 5 tornado. A 300 mile an hour wind will rip trees out of the ground. It'll rip cement out of the ground. It'll pulverize metal, okay? Now think about the space shuttle. It weighs 4 million pounds. 4 million pounds. And it's thrusting down. So for it to go off, it has to put over 4 million pounds of thrust out. And if you watch the close-up where they show the close-up, there's a little metal fence there. It doesn't even shake. Brian.
Yeah.
It doesn't even shake. It would be pulverized. The cement would be pulverized. None of that happened. And that's with room temperature. This is superheated exhaust, right? That's thousands of degrees. I'm just talking a 300 mile an hour wind will pulverize a stone house, okay? And the fence around it doesn't even move, okay? It's nonsense. You watch these rocket launches, the thrust going down to lift this millions of pounds would pulverize everything. The smoke cloud that we see wouldn't be a smoke cloud. It would be, it would blow out to the sides. It would be ridiculous. But people don't use their minds because they can't imagine a deception this big. Look at this. 2016 and 2014 photos. NASA in 2016 took this picture with the amazing aurora on top. Now, you don't even need Photoshop to do that, okay? This is a picture that NASA showed us. But these pictures of this gaseous, stormy planet where we have this crazy storm and these other storms, I put them over each other and I made them transparent and back and forth. There's zero difference. This little storm is exactly like that storm over here. It's the exact same picture. They're faking pictures of balls in space because it's just nonsense. This is mind control. This is to make you believe that you are an insignificant nothing in a godless universe.
Sorry, I'm having technical phone difficulties here. Okay, Dave. Hold on one second.
No problem.
Why am
Right,
I
we're
getting
going to teach you how
feedback?
to use Zoom. I'm happy to give you a free lesson.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Now I'm hearing reverb in my own ears. That's crazy. Okay, caller, you're live with Dave. What's your question?
Mr. Weiss, I was asking you why don't you mention Antonio Subarat's map? He's got a scale on his map.
Say one more time, caller.
I heard it, Brian.
Okay.
He wants me to mention another guy's map. I haven't really seen his map, so I really can't speak to it.
Who is this guy? Who is it?
A guy named Antonio who lives in Europe somewhere. He's an artist.
Did you have something else, caller?
I can't hear him.
Shoot, what is going on? See, here's the deal with my phone is I've got two lines. I've got my Google Voice line and I've got my regular phone line, which it usually calls in on. Now it's doing something wonky on me. So let's see. Caller, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
The phone number you 918-410-9174. Is that the number you want?
Well, yeah, it's the same line. It's just it's coming through different modes. Go ahead and ask your question one more time.
So why? How come you don't mention Antonio Subarat's map? And he's also scaled his map in Australia to smaller, like you said it should be.
Okay, he said he answered because he's not familiar with it. Is there something on that map that you want to draw everybody's attention to?
He knows what it is.
I don't know it. I have this map on my shirt right here, and Australia is smaller on this one, so maybe that's the map he's referring to.
Mention his map.
Because he said he's not familiar with it.
Yeah, Brian, I don't know. Want to go to the next call?
Okay, that's all I need to know. Mr. Watt. Thank you.
Hey, wait! Before you go, what on that map is? Are you saying that map debunks what Dave's saying, or what?
It has a scale on a flat map.
Okay, so do you hold to the flat Earth position? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and
Dave knows that too, but
can you drop a link to that map in the chat room?
just go to Antonio Subarat's Patreon. It's free. He has maps of all of his maps.
Okay, if you could drop a link, that would really help everybody in the room.
Okay, I'm on mobile. I can't do it till I get home because I don't have the ability. But it's just Antonio Subarat on Patreon, and all his maps are free. And it has a scaled map of the flat Earth.
Okay,
cool.
Sounds good, man. Thank you for calling in. All right, if one of my mods could put that in there. I what's his last name, Dave? Antonio what? Subarats? Somebody put in Antonio Subarat's map or link or whatever, and we'll take a look at it. I'm not familiar with any of that. Okay, here it goes. Chaos in the ER drops one. All right, let's go to another caller.
Toe punch.
To accept, press.
Okay, you're live with High Impact TV and Dave Weiss. What's your question?
It's Toe Punch. Hey, if you look under the 1968 encyclopedia, under Antarctica, it gives you the measurements of the dome. Because they were on the outer edge. They measured it.
Encyclopedia, wait till he's done.
Okay.
I can answer that, Brian.
Okay, go ahead, Dave. To answer that, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Throw punch. You wanna hang up and listen to the answer on your computer?
So
I'm on the phone right now.
the encyclopedia.
Hold on 1 second. I know it's confusing, and this is all my fault, guys. He's answering the question right now while you're talking. You can't hear him, and he can't hear you. Well, he could hear you, but just hold on 1 second. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
So he's referring to, it's before the Encyclopedia Britannica. It's the Encyclopedia Americana from, I think, 1958. And it talks about the dome at 75 degrees south, or don't quote me on that latitude. And it talks about the height, and I believe they charted it out. I'm not sure if I forget the guy's name. But it basically talks about the firmament in it and in the encyclopedia, and it talks about the height. So yeah, they're changing history. Those encyclopedias are disappearing, but we have video of the encyclopedia that shows it. So, Brian, they're rewriting history. In 50 years from now, people are going to look back and go, oh my God, all those people that died from COVID. Look, all these pictures that I'm wearing masks, and videos like yours and mine won't be found. They'll be gone. So, they memory hole history and rewrite it on a very short scale.
Okay, Throw Punch, did you have another question?
Yeah, if you look up New York Journal, 1897, and that's the January 31st edition, on the front cover it shows the flat Earth and shows the ice wall around.
Are you familiar with that, Dave?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, in the early 1900s, there's tons of articles about flat Earth, about school teachers being persecuted for trying to teach the heliocentric nonsense. And it was a big fight back then. But they want us to believe that never happened.
Hey, Throw Punch, thanks for calling in, man.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, take care. Guys, I am sorry. This phone thing, I got to get down. We have Antonio Subarats. It says Patreon page. I don't see any of his. Oh, I guess here's a map. Okay, you're live with Dave Weiss on High Impact TV. What's your question for Dave?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for taking my call. Just one quick question for Dave, and then I'll hop off the phone. I'm wondering if he can address how sonar works on a globe, and that's it. Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Dave, how does sonar work?
Yeah, it doesn't work on a globe. It works on a flat Earth. I mean, there's whales that communicate with each other at distances that they'd be going through miles and miles of Earth, but they can, and I'm sure there's military sonar that is sounding off of things that would not be possible on a globe. Water lays flat when at rest. Submarines, when they're going, would pop out of the water unless they kept nosing down, okay, to go around a curve. None of that happens. Planes, airplane, plane, air-plane flies across the Earth plane, not the Earth globe.
Okay, welcome to High Impact TV. What's up, Truth Sauce? What's your question for Dave?
I just was wondering why he didn't bring up Michelson Morley's experiment, that you can visually repeat over and over, that the Earth is stationary. So if the Earth is stationary and has been proven and suppressed, that throws the whole heliocentric model right out the door, because it's all based off of a moving planet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass that along to Dave. You want to listen to it on your computer? I can't. There's no way for me to have you listen to it on the phone.
All right. So the answer is, every scientific experiment that's been done over time to test for curvature or motion has failed and has not found curvature or motion. Michelson and Morley, the Aries failure, the Bedford level experiment, all of these experiments are suppressed. They're not taught in school. They prove the opposite of a spinning globe. They prove a flat stationary plane, and they're hiding that information. I mean, Brian, if you didn't know anything and you walked outside and I said to you, figure out what this place is, you would never come up with a spinning, twirling, whirling ball in a vacuum. No way ever would you do that. It's total mind control. Like this image that you're showing right now, that is a fisheye lens. You're looking through a curved window, but that doesn't prove anything. When you're looking into a distance, you see the same distance in all directions. So if you plotted, a plot 100 miles in every direction, you're plotting a circle, and then your brain tells you that's a sphere. But that's just the limit of your vision. The angular, there's things get smaller and smaller and smaller until you can't see them anymore.
All right, thanks, Dave. We're going to go to one more caller. Asia, thanks for calling in. Where are you from, and what's your question for Dave?
Hey, yeah, I'm from Connecticut. I'm calling not so much for a question, but more so if he could talk about the pilot and the way that when they are trying to fly around the world and how they use the GPS, and the GPS goes dead over a certain period of time, and that's one of the ways that people have tried to prove that the Earth is flat, because no one can actually account for why they go dead, or when they're doing these flights, and it seems to sort of not make sense because they're traveling along the airways.
Dave, you got an answer for that?
Yeah, I got it. So
hold on one second, Dave. Asia, thank you for the question. Is it okay for you to hang up and just listen to it on your computer?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for calling in.
Asia, thanks for the question. I think what she's referring to is, we're taught that GPS is satellites that are buzzing around like bees all around the Earth. If that was the case, there would be GPS everywhere. But it turns out that whenever you're like 100 or 2 miles from civilization off the shoreline, there's no GPS. Planes that fly off the tip of South America disappear off the radar and don't show up until they're within 100 miles of their destination. Flying from California to Hawaii, there's no radar out. There's no GPS out there. Over the deep Amazon, there's no GPS over there. Okay, GPS is a ground positioning system. It used to be called LORAN, and then when they came up with computers, they overlaid it with maps, photos from high altitude airplanes and graphics, and they called it GPS. It's not, you have to believe that these things are falling around the Earth and they're measuring things within inches. These are triangulation from land-based hours, okay? That's why a dead spot's a dead spot, when you're on your cell phone, because it's all from land-based towers. If everything was buzzing around, for GPS, you would have coverage everywhere, but there's no coverage when you're not near any land. Now, most of the inner north has good GPS coverage because there's land everywhere. There's populated lands. But when you get into the outer southern lands, you can there's no GPS out here. There's no GPS over the big deserts. Okay, there's no GPS in these outer waters out here. So when a plane, leaves South America, it doesn't give you GPS, because if it gave you GPS, you would be able. They also hide it if they don't want you to see the route that it's taking. But there's no GPS where there's no land. That's the bottom line.
Okay, Brooke L had a question. She says, oh, shoot, where is it? Darn, it disappeared on me. Where is it? Sorry, Brooke L. Ask your question again, Brooke L. People were asking about pilots. News Now Fort Worth says Wi-Fi is radar for humans who don't even need a phone to be tracked. Let's see.
So the pilots, how come, are all pilots in on it? A lot of them just follow the rules and don't realize it. They think the Earth is too big. They think they see curvature through their curved windows. But they don't. They can't. And, they're the high priest of scientism, Neil deGrasse Tyson, says you can't even see it. He keeps raising the level. You can't see it at 40,000 feet, 70,000 feet. Now it's 130,000 feet. You can't see it. But many pilots are aware. Some of them have spoken out publicly, and they've gotten grounded. Qantas pilots talk about it in the lounge openly with each other. They've told us. We have whistleblowers that talk to us all the time. There's lots of pilots.
They talk about what specifically? That the Earth is flat and it's not a globe?
Flat. Yeah, and it's not a globe, and they know it. They're flat earthers. They know it. So the problem is, you speak out publicly on this stuff, you can lose your livelihood. They have families to feed and jobs, So listen, Brian, before we end, why I got the app up here, as I said before, if you Google flat Earth, you're going to get garbage. You're going to get garbage. This app, if you hit the question mark button, up come the top 21 questions. And so I give people a challenge. Search the, try to come up with one proof. But before you do, look here. Like if you say, where's the edge? Boom, where's the edge? And you click that. Or what about gravity? Information on gravity. Or why the lie? If we click why the lie, up comes a video on why the lie and an entire playlist of information that will blow your minds. Okay, the problem is you can't blow your mind if you're unwilling to look. There's also other information, there's music, there's debunking the debunkers, bottom middle, there's biblical flat earth, there's mud flood information, there's all sorts of stuff on here, different languages for people that speak different languages, there's playlists there. And then here's what I tell people: take the Flat Earth app challenge, and I want you to take it too, Brian. Is you every day a new video will show up right here in the corner. It's the daily video. This is my co-host Matt Long is texting me. He's from Woke Town. He's got great short videos. But the bottom left right here. Every day a new video comes up. You click the actual image, up comes the video, along with a whole playlist of other related videos or previous videos. And then what I say is take the Flat Earth app challenge every day for 2 weeks. Just watch that daily video. I do short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekends. And within 2 weeks, you will know that you don't live on a globe, okay? So this will save you from the dead-end doorways that Google will feed you.
Well, is this app in the Google App Store and the Apple Play Store?
It's in the Apple Play Store and the Google App Store.
What's it called?
It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and ZODIAC Clock app, and it's by Blue Water Bay. It's $2.99. Okay, so when you download it, by the way, there's a it has terms and conditions just like every other app. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to be tracked. Well, it needs your location to put you on the map, but you can turn off your location and set it manually. So it literally has less intrusive-ness than a calculator app. Okay, so there's nothing being tracked. I get no information from it. The other thing is it asks you if you would like to subscribe for 99 cents a month. That's a way to support me. But if you're new to Flat Earth, don't subscribe. Just the thing pops up only once every 24 hours. You can exit out immediately, and when you do, you still get everything. So no need to subscribe unless you wake up every day and go, I wonder what's on that app. Hey, one more thing I want to show you on the app.
Well, it's okay. We're not going to leave because there are a couple more questions that people are asking. One of them.
Let me just show you one more thing on the app. I pull up the weather. This is the winds at 40,000 feet, and if you look, these outer pink and white areas, these winds are going 200 to 300 miles an hour. Now, Brian, the problem with this is they're traveling eastward. And if we lived on a ball, the ball is spinning to the east, and those winds that should be lagging behind, like in a blender, are outrunning the spin of the Earth. That proves right there that the Earth isn't spinning. They're outrunning the spin of the Earth by 200 to 300 miles an hour. That there proves that we don't live on a flat Earth.
I'm in no hurry to end this, by the way. I want you to know that. What's that?
We don't live on a flat Earth. I said we don't live on a flat Earth. That was not what I meant to say. Hey, one more thing. See the sun out here? The sun it travels. This outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn, and the inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. I'm going to jump the sun 1 month forward. We're at December 19th. That's right around the solstice where the sun is at its outermost part. So that sun right there is over the southern lands, and it's their summer. It's the height of their summer in December. But then if we jump 6 months forward, we're now in June, and it's the inner northern land summer, and it's over the Tropic of Cancer. So it's closer to us in the inner north. We're having our summer, they're having their winter because the sun is farther away. It's not the stupid tilt of the Earth. That's utter nonsense.
Okay, Brookel asked the question, what is the point of, say, Elon Musk launching 42,000 rockets up into so-called space? What would be the point of that?
The satellites. So I don't know what the heck he's putting up there, if he's putting anything up there. They could be drones, they could be balloons, but they're not launching anything into space. That launch the other day did not go to the space station. There's nobody's in whatever that light in the sky is. Elon Musk, if you're the CEO of a company, you're a pretty busy guy, but Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla Automobiles. He's the CEO of the solar company. He's the CEO of the largest tunneling company of the world. He's the CEO of the company that took over for NASA, okay? Elon Musk is a puppet moron, dumber than George Bush and the rest of them. He is a figurehead. He is nothing, right? And he is out there to mock humanity's intelligence.
Let's see. There's a couple of just a white guy says flat Earth is well poisoning. Okay, so why do you go ahead?
Good. I like that. I used to think the same thing. When I heard about flat Earth, I wouldn't look at it. Then when I finally looked at it, I'm like, that's a little crazy. Is my back though? Am I not sharing anymore?
You are not. You're not.
Okay, I'm not sharing. So I said it's a psyop. It's a psyop to poison the well. But then when you look into it, it's like the psyop is to make you think it's a psyop. It's like a dream within a dream. The flat Earth is the way they control us. It's the way they have our minds believing in utter nonsense and gibberish. They have us lost and depowered. So people that say flat Earth is a psyop, I say, okay, where's your one proof of the globe? And the answers I get are, besides, photos of Earth, the dumb stuff, they're like, I'm not going to bother giving you one because you won't believe it anyway. Or I have millions of them and you're too stupid to understand them. They never come up with one. The reason I'm offering $1,000 for one proof of the flat Earth is because I'll offer 10,000, but no one believes that's a real bet, right? But people can believe, all right, maybe he's willing to put up 1,000. I'll put up 1,000, and if you win, you can have 10,000 if you want it, because you're not going to get it because there are no proofs. Nobody has come up. There's other people putting up more money. I think there's a guy in Texas putting up $1 million. Okay, you're not going to get it because there's no proof. So I love the guy that says flat Earth is a well poisoner. Show me. Show me one proof of the globe. We can see too far. We get pressure next to a vacuum doesn't exist. NASA is provenly faking space. Something's going on there. Unwind that all the way, and they're hiding something big. Once you realize the truth of our world, you get your power back. Once you have your power back, you stop giving it to the elite. Go ahead.
Luke himself says, oh, shoot, what is up with DLive? Why does it glitch like that? Luke himself, I'm looking for your post. Let's see. Where is Luke? Oh, yeah. The whole, quote, flat Earth is a psyop argument only comes from people who aren't intelligent enough to research things. Higgs Boson asks, flat Earth is the way they control us? I think he's asking, can you explain how they control us by flat Earth? Like, for example, let's say somebody didn't even subscribe to globe Earth or flat Earth, and they just want to live their lives. They're worried about the Federal Reserve diminishing their dollar and stealing from their time and laboring energies, and you got politicians trying to take away your rights. Why should that person be focusing on the flat Earth versus globe Earth?
So because if you don't know who you are, where you are, or what you are, Brian, you've lost your divinity. You've lost your power. We are the center of creation. We are special. We are powerful. And if you don't know that, you're wasting your journey here. You're wasting it. Now, there's people that don't know the Earth is flat, that are thriving and doing well. And, whether they believe in God or not, doesn't matter. There's lots of people that are happy. But the truth is, this is a special place, and we are on a journey here that is truly amazing. And by they say the biggest trick the devil ever had is to make you think he doesn't exist. Well, no, the biggest trick the devil has is make you think God doesn't exist and that you're an insignificant piece of crap. And that's not the case. We are literally special, powerful beings. And when you wake up to the flat Earth, I just was at a flat Earth conference in South Carolina. There's like 400 people, not a single person wearing a mask. Call it a super spreader event, but nobody's sick. None of us got sick. None of them have fallen for the bullshit that's going on in the world. Not one of them. Okay? When you wake up to the flat Earth, you see through all the deceptions. It's literally like they live, like putting on the glasses. Once you see the flat Earth, you got the glasses on, and all of a sudden you can see all the deceptions. Now, there's a lot of people that see a lot of deceptions, including yourself, Brian, that hasn't really dove into the flat Earth. You don't need the flat Earth to see everything, but when you see the flat Earth, you're putting on those glasses, and you can really see.
Sober Vegan says, once you start researching, you turn into a flat earther. We are being lied to about so many things. Let's see. Somebody said, who was this? Jesse says, we have infinite resources and globe Earth is used to control us, i.e. overpopulation, GMO, carbon emissions control, etc.
Exactly. They want us to believe that there's not enough, that that we're burning dinosaur bones, rotten dinosaurs. That's the biggest joke ever. Dinosaurs is another joke. They want us to believe that terrorists, that they want us to believe that asteroids are coming in. Every year on Halloween, they tell us they see a jack-o'-lantern asteroid, and they're mocking us with the nonsense. People believe that Tesla put his car in space, but the ones that believe it never looked at the footage. The footage is B-rated. It's a joke. Like if you said, "Hey, I've got $10 to fund a movie," you got ripped off if that's the movie you made. It's garbage.
Okay, let's see. Invisible Hand says, yes, we're being lied to, but the Earth is not flat, he says.
Okay, give me one proof. Let him come back. Keep an eye out for him. Give me one proof that the Earth is a globe. And when you can't come up with one, then you might want to ask yourself, well, why? Why can't I? By the way, I was him. I used to say the same thing.
Okay, so I am so glad you guys have no idea how ecstatic I am that we can be civil about this conversation and walk away. If we walk away in disagreement or whatever, I hate the flat earthers are just a bunch of fools. I can't stand that kind of rhetoric. But here's my thing: when I believed in globe Earth, and I'm not even saying that I'm there right now because I'm I'm in this in between space, and it makes me feel kind of funny about that. But when I believed in globe Earth, or I was buying all the lies in my 15,000 hour indoctrination program, I still believed we were special. I believed that we were all unique. So when you say flat Earth shows how special we are, you could have somebody with the globe Earther saying, subjectively speaking, hey, I realize how special we are. I mean, I've got my own fingerprints. I'm my own person.
That's what I said, Brian, I said that. I said, you don't need flat Earth to realize that you're special. But if you don't know where you live, if you don't acknowledge that this place was built for us, you're denying God's creation. Okay, you can get by with that. But think how much better you'll be doing if you know who you are, where you are, what you are. You can thrive a lot more. My life has gotten so amazing since I've discovered this. There's so many things that have come to me. It's amazing. Hey, by the way, this image behind me, that's a nice picture of NASA doing a spacewalk, for 8 hours where they probably tighten one little bolt on the outside. Do you think that could be done with CGI, Brian?
Say again?
Do you think that could be done with CGI? I'm trying to get out of the way here. NASA.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I've seen enough movies to say, hey, that looks like a movie set. Yeah, of course.
NASA has it's called the National Buoyancy Lab, where they do all of they have a full, supposedly a full space station in the pool, and the pool has green screens in it. Well, check this out. Here's where the shot is from. This is it. It's in a pool, all right? But they just put in the background, and they make you believe that they're in space. It's amazing. Brian, we're spinning, whirling, twirling in 5 different directions at once, right? All of these motions. And while I'm saying this, I'm looking for my image, and it's gone. It's gone. And, we have completely calm water, that are reflecting mountains in the distance. I don't know what happened to all my images. So good. Is there another question?
Yeah, hold on one second, guys. I had to go to chat because I've got to get the phone thing down. I promise I'll try to look into that. I'm sorry, I haven't got it down. Let's see.
So we're spinning, whirling, twirling, and we have this, right? If I tap my foot on the shoreline, it would send ripples across that. But we're spinning, right? They say, it's only going around once a day. You can't see the hand on a clock move around. Well, we're spinning. We're dropping at 5 miles a minute. Okay, that's and curve is acceleration. So we're curving at like 5 miles a minute. It's nonsense.
So so in your opinion, every image that we see coming off the ISS, the International Space Station, is just movie theater theatrics.
Yeah, and when we see the guys floating on the station,
yeah,
here I am. I'm on the space station.
Yeah, see, that's the whole thing that keeps me in the middle, man. It's like I know you're saying that when I see the stuff from NASA and I see all the glitches in the green screen. Yeah, I know. Hey, make that look real, man. Let's see. J.S. Dunham says Dave is a good guy. He's trying to wake you folks up who question it. Yeah, and I'm glad we can ask these questions. One sick tuck says NASA scientist Werner von Braun has Psalm 19 on his headstone.
Yeah, so Werner von Braun, the Nazi that we brought over to run NASA, the rocket scientist, basically just a deceiver, on his tombstone, it says Psalm 19:1. That's all it says on his tombstone. Look that up, and that talks about the firmament. God created the firmament above us. Why would the head of NASA put that on his gravestone?
Collins 420 says all flat and sphere talk is another conflict amongst the people, so they put faith in government. What do you say to that?
I disagree. I've lost complete total faith in government and realized that they have no power over me, Brian. There's so many things that I do in my life that you saw my Costco video. I wouldn't have the courage to do that if I didn't know the earth was flat. Don't ask me, really? It's like I've realized that nobody has authority over me. Nobody. You realize that before you realize the earth is flat, but deep down inside, Brian, you know that we don't live on a globe. You already know it. It's just hard to come to let go all of that programming that we have in us.
Ron Paul 2008 says, why does water drain in different directions in different hemispheres, and can you explain sunspots?
Yeah, so water does not drain in different directions. That is a myth. I have sinks in my house where one of it goes clockwise in one and counterclockwise in the other. There's a it all depends on, at the equator, supposedly the guy has this sink, and he goes literally 20 feet on one side of the line that says it's equator, and he pours water in and puts some leaves in the water, and you can see it going clockwise, and he brings it the other way, and it goes the other way. It brings it on the other side, it goes the other way. Well, it's just because he poured the water in, so it turned that way a little bit. That is untrue. Water does not spin. It's just the shape of the toilet, it's the shape of the sink. It's how the water goes in. That is a myth that people just believe because that's what they were told. Now, storms to the south of the Tropic of Capricorn or to the north of the Tropic of Cancer spin in opposite directions. And that's because the sun and the moon are electric and magnetic by nature. And as they move, they're creating a wake. Just like if you pushed your hand through water, vortices would go spinning in opposite directions. But occasionally, depending on when a storm is traveling, towards the equator, where the sun and the moon are, it will cross the equator, still spinning in the wrong direction. Okay, so that's the whole Coriolis thing is a total myth.
Hankster44 says, first of all, J Law says, I'm with David Weiss. Hankster44 says, why 6 months of darkness in Alaska?
Yeah, so that's great. So the sun, when it goes to the Tropic of Cancer, which is that inner yellow ring, Alaska's inside the middle here. So it never really gets that far away from Alaska. It goes all the way around. So that's 24 hours of sunlight. And you can film it. We filmed it, where the sun never sets because the sun's never getting far enough away. But when it takes those wider circles, goes out to the equator, it's far away from Alaska, and it's so far away when it's over the Tropic of Capricorn that the sun never rises because it's always too far away. Now, the same thing should be true 6 months later at the same latitude in the south, the opposite latitude. But the problem is there's 24 hours of darkness in Antarctica when the sun is all the way on the inside because it never gets close enough to Antarctica to light it. But when it's all the way out there, when it's out over the Tropic of Cancer, in Capricorn, it should circle around and not set, but it doesn't. It doesn't, Brian. It goes away. Now, there's very long days there, and there's a difference between daylight and sunlight. Daylight is the sky, shining light down, and sunlight is directly from the sun. When the sun goes way out near the dome, that light wraps around the dome and can give you 24 hours of light, but not sunlight. Okay, and I can show you a video of how we can recreate that with a glass dome, and it works. It matches exactly what time and date show us.
All right, Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. So the 24-hour sun in the Arctic, the north, make perfect sense on a globe Earth and a flat Earth. 24 hours of darkness make perfect sense on a globe Earth and a flat Earth. But in the south, you would have the same thing, but there is no 24-hour sun in the south. There's only 4 faked, obviously, clearly faked videos. And again, if you have to fake it, there's something wrong. Go ahead.
Okay, Sour D says, I'm not a flat earther, but I find Dave's claims very interesting and worth discussing. Great guest. Much love.
So please download the app. This is how I support myself. It's $2.99. It's basically a half a beer if bars were open. Okay. Every day you'll get a new video. Watch the video. I'm telling you, life will become so interesting. There's never a boring moment in my life.
The Sober Vegan drops a Lamborghini. Thank you, Sober Vegan. And he says, Weiss, any groups that you know of that do experiments on sending private balloons up? And then he ends by saying Earth is flat.
Yeah, there's a guy, Dwayne Kellum, who recently got fired for refusing to wear a mask, that he's put up a lot of balloons. There's a guy, Dan Dimensions, check out his channel. He's sent up balloons and shows you how the sun fluoresces the different gases in the sky. And he's got some great stuff where it shows daylight next to night, daytime next to nighttime without a barrier. It's amazing. And it's basically, the sun is like a Tesla coil, and it's exciting all the gases in the sky, and there's lots of nitrogen up there, which excites blue, by the way. And then when it's far enough away, like when the sun sets here, it's still light for a long time. There's still daylight long after the sun has supposedly set. That's because its electricity is still exciting the gases there. And so that's how day and night work.
Let's see. Our World Change says, thanks so much for doing this talk with Dave. I just discovered both of you a few months ago. By the way, if you haven't, Dave, do you have access to a keyboard? Can you drop your link to DLive and whatever other links you want people to hook up with you at?
Yeah, I will. I'm in there. I can drop links in there.
Yeah, you can drop links.
So my YouTube channel is my videos are short videos. If I do a 5-minute video, people are like, oh, you're making a documentary. So I have short videos, which are great for people that are just like, all right, what is this flat Earth? I'm not going to watch a 2-hour video. Check out my channel, DITRH. It's the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And those are where my short videos are. But the best is get the app, because the app, I'm feeding you videos every day. Like if you said, hey, Dave, send me a video on how sunsets work on a flat Earth, or how circumnavigation works. If I sent you one video, you're going to watch that video, and then Google's going to feed you a bunch of crap that's going to derail anything that I just taught you. The app, when you get a video, the next video, I selected it. The next video, I selected it. It totally negates Google's algorithms. So I'm putting the link to the. I put the link in the chat, but did it go in?
Let me see. Yeah, it did. Yep. Okay. Flat Earth, Sun and Moon Zodiac Clock. There's the app right there. And guys, I just dropped the link to DITRH YouTube channel right there too. And visit him on DLive. Follow him on DLive and subscribe to him.
Actually, I don't really do a live streaming. If you want to find me, I do a podcast, which is available on any podcast player. It's on SoundCloud and iTunes. It's called The Flat Earth Podcast. Can't miss it. Dave and Matt. If any of you are on the biblical side out there, check out Woke Town on Instagram and YouTube. Matt does short videos, usually with a little Bible twist. Fascinating stuff.
Okay, Sydney.
The app has all of those, has everything in it.
Sydney Walsh says, this guy is a kook.
Yeah, well, is that your best proof of the globe, Sydney?
Let's see. Rika the Voluntarist says, making claims is teaching, ? Dang, I'm learning so much. I think she's talking to somebody else. Yeah, I don't like this talking to somebody like, I want to talk to somebody like I would want to be talked to, number one. And when I see people keyboard warrioring it, and I'm not downing you, Sydney Walsh, because I want us all to be on the same team. We're not going to walk away disagreeing on everything right away. But while we're in the middle of disagreeing, I think we can be civil with each other. And I just don't see how that's facilitated by calling somebody a kook. So,
well, Brian, I have to just go out there. I don't know Sydney's situation, life is, what's going on.
Yeah.
But I called people kooks too. So I don't have any hatred for Sydney. I just asked Sydney to do what somebody asked me to do. Show them one proof of the ball. And I thought I had a bunch of them, right? But what I tell people is I'm getting, I have a lot of subs, a lot of people follow me. I can't keep up with all the emails. Before you send me one, look on the app under the frequently asked questions, because the thing that you're going to send me is answered there thoroughly, and then you won't ask that question anymore. And people say, what about boats over the horizon? Fully answered, right? What about seasons? We talked about seasons a little bit. What about, circumnavigation? We talked about circumnavigation. Sticks and shadows, Aristophanes, completely out there. What about Professor Dave and all of his dumb crap, right? There's the Debunking the Debunkers link on the app. All of the stuff is there. The problem is the globe has a huge advantage over flat Earth, and that is, I believe in the globe. My teacher told me, it's in the books. I'm done. I'm going to go drink a beer, and I'm going to smoke a joint, and I'm going to go watch a movie, because I don't need the research, right? That's a belief, right? If you want to know, you've been listening, and people have been here for almost 2 hours listening to this. It's not enough. You got to say, I'm pointing towards a bunch of doors and going, hey, there's information behind those doors. You got to go look. You got to engage your brain. And by the way, they never taught you to do that in school. They taught you how to memorize and regurgitate. That's it. And the ones that do it the best become the teachers.
I totally agree with what you just said, Dave. And basically echoing your sentiment, Sarah Connor says, people get so triggered over the shape of the earth. Why can't we just think for ourselves and stop being jerks to each other? I love that. I like that outlook. Rainmaker Bear says, Dave is awesome. The earth is flat. The Wave Slave says, Neil deGrasse Tyson says the entire solar system is flying thousands of miles an hour, yet constellations remain in the same place.
They never move. You can go check year after year after year. They're still there. The ones that the ancients talked about are still in the same position. They wouldn't be the same from day to day. And the thing about science is never settled. You can always hey, let me challenge this. Let me find a flaw in this. Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye, the lying guy, say science is settled. We don't ever need to talk to you flat earthers because you're ridiculous. That's their best proof. They refuse to engage us. I can talk. I'm not even the best at this. I can talk to to either one of those guys and destroy them because they have nothing but lies, math equations, and false accusations.
All peace for now says 8 inch per mile squared is the formula for the curvature.
Right. So 8 inches per mile squared. So if you're standing next to calm water at rest, after 1 mile, it should drop 8 inches. After 2 miles, it should drop, 2 times 2 times 8, 32 inches. 3 miles, it should drop 6 feet. So a 6 foot tall person standing at the edge of a calm ocean should only be able to see 3 miles, and then the water will drop below their eye line. Well, as I talked about before, with the, looking out past things at known distances, we can see them. And the thing is, people say, why can't I see Mount Everest? Why can't I see Europe? Why can't I see, whatever? And that's because the air is dense, like water. Like you're in a big swimming pool, you can't see the other end of the swimming pool. So over distance, air becomes opaque. There's a place, Mount Canigou in Aluja, France, and from Aluja at this one location on a certain day of the year, you can see Canigou Mountain, which is 270 miles away, or some crazy number, where the top of that mountain should be miles below the curvature or way below the curvature, and with using their math. The problem is when the sun, here's the mountain, you can't see it. You can't see it because there's just too much atmosphere. So you're seeing sky. But when the sun goes beyond it, it backlights it and you can see it. Okay? That shows you that there's zero curvature. The globers will say, well, it's looming up, miles and then sitting there. You're seeing a mirage. Nonsense. Globers will say, on a clear day, when you can see things that shouldn't be there, that's because it's a mirage. But on a unclear, not good condition days where you can't see something, that's because it's behind the curve. Okay, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what globers say and do.
Okay, Darbosaurus Rex says, I still don't know how this guy knows there's a mountain range in Antarctica.
So I read it in one place I saw it was in the Encyclopedia Americana, and I've heard it other places too. But there's videos of these mountain ranges and documentaries, old documentaries that talk about. I think it was a documentary with Admiral Byrd that talked about the mountain range being higher than Everest, but. Take that off the table. We're not allowed to go there. No one's allowed to go there, and you're not even allowed to question the treaty because we can't disturb the ice, but we can cut down the rainforests. Okay?
Sangri Joven says, please talk about the black swan, David.
So that the black swan is, it's one of those. I talked about it. It's where we have a something at a known distance, which was an oil rig. And there's also another one with a wind turbine where we know exactly how far they are and where the curvature should be, but we can see the water beyond them. So they call that, just for a nickname, they call it the black swan because it's rare, hard to find. But there's more and more of these black swans that we're finding, that are proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is no curvature. The Earth is 70% water, no curvature, no ball.
What's the deal with people keep saying something about Evelyn Byrd? What's the deal with Evelyn Byrd?
Admiral Byrd. Admiral Byrd is he was in the late 1950s, just before the Antarctic Treaty came. He was doing exploration in Antarctica, and he said when he flew over Antarctica, he found a landmass that is bigger than the United States and has never been set foot on by humans. And then right after that, he did a news conference. If you look up Admiral Byrd news conference, you'll see it where he's talking about it. Then all of a sudden, the Antarctic Treaty happened. And then all of a sudden, NASA was formed. And all of a sudden, they discovered the Van Allen radiation belts that we can't get through unless we're going to the moon. So they put a fence over us. They put a fence around us. Again, Admiral Byrd was a general. I don't know if he was a Freemason. I don't know if what he said is true, if he's telling us because they have to tell us, or if he let it slip and didn't know he should let it slip. Maybe the U.S. governments, the governments of the world, which I think are just puppets of the real controllers, maybe they didn't know that the Earth was flat and they discovered it. And then they realized, wait a minute, we can't let people know because then they'll know that there's a creator and then they'll know that we're not in charge, that we really don't have power over you. And so they the controllers of the world, the puppet masters that are here, trying to control us, they don't want us to know the truth because we would take our power back if we knew. I've taken my power back.
COVID-19 is not real says, what's to stop somebody from just sailing down there?
Well, there's people that have tried and have been stopped by force. I'm not sure if they've actually sunk any boats, but people have been jailed. The other problem is, even if they let you, there's no, where are you going to get fuel? Where are you going to, there's no GPS. Compasses don't work down there. It's dark. It's cold. Okay. How are you going to go anywhere? And that the whole thing is guarded. Now, there's not a bunch of, people holding hands, making circles saying, don't pass this line. They have, on Antarctica, there's bases around Antarctica, around the shoreline that are making sure that nobody comes down there to explore, because anybody that does will see the world is misdescribed.
Ice Pick Lobotomy says they have cruises you can circumnavigate Antarctica today.
Yeah, that's not true. There's 15 different companies that you can go to Antarctica. They're all owned by the same company. So there's really only one company. It costs you $10,000 to $20,000 or $30,000 to go there for just a couple of days. You go there, you get a tour of the shoreline. They show you some penguins. If you're lucky, they'll bring you a couple miles outwards, south, They'll show you a pole in the ground. They'll tell you it's the South Pole, but you have no way of verifying that, and you are not allowed to explore on your own. Now, as far as circumnavigating it, if the Antarctica was a continent at the bottom of the globe, it's about 13,000 miles around. Well, the last person to try to go around it was, I believe, was Captain Cook, and he took him over 3 years, and he went something like 80,000 miles, and I'm not sure he completed. Okay, not 13,000, 80,000, because he's going all the way around, right? So saying that you can circumnavigate Antarctica is a misconception or a lie.
Okay, put a 1 in the room if you want to hear Dave come back on a live stream, because I personally want to see him come back, because I don't think we've even scratched the surface. And personally, Dave, I apologize for all the technical difficulties. I don't really think I did this live stream any justice by geeking around with all this.
Let's get you on Zoom. Let's get you.
Yeah. We'll do it.
Do a Skype call, me, you, and I need one other person to help. We'll take us 30 minutes. We'll make you a Zoom professional. Sounds
good. Yeah, there's tons of ones just showing up in the room. On the screen right now, Flat New Hampshire says this is something that he personally took of. What is this, Flat New Hampshire? Cirrus? Is that what you said? I don't.
You asking me?
No, the Flat New Hampshire, who's a flat earther, said that he took this with his telescope. This is supposed to be of Cirrus, I think.
Sirius, the star.
I think so.
So when you zoom in on stars, sometimes if they're a little out of focus, you can see these cymatic patterns. This one looks pretty in focus to me. Every star has its own pattern. I can tell some of these stars, which ones they are, by these cymatic patterns. They're not burning balls of hydrogen trillions of miles away, billions of miles away. That's utter nonsense. They're energetic lights of consciousness, so sentient lights, in my opinion, that are within the Earth system. That's why astrology is the real science. Astronomy is the nonsense science.
Well, Dave, that was a lot of ones in the room. That was pretty overwhelming. I haven't seen that many ones in a while, so I think we're going to have you back, and we'll iron this thing out, get rid of our technical difficulties, and just drill down even more. Does that sound good to you?
It sounds great. I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, me too.
The hard questions, and the people that think Flat Earth is stupid, take the Flat Earth app challenge. Trust me, it will change your life.
Guys, hang around, Dave. I want to talk to you a little bit later, but we're going to go ahead and end the live stream right now. Guys, I was meaning to just make this a solid 2 hours. We went just a little over it. I really appreciate you guys sharing. I appreciate you calling in, and I really appreciate all your comments. Thank you for the lemons. Let me give some shout outs to the top givers for this live stream. Let me see here. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Let me expand this a little bit. Philosopher, wow, 4.9 thousand lemons. Thank you very much. The Sober Vegan, 3.2 thousand. Rocky, 1.2 thousand. PTSD Joe, 298. Amelin, Amy Loves Lou, 298. Nico Bear, 200. Brian, 200. Henry Ford Lives, 200. Repair Bear, 120. And what is that right there? Kampala 12, 114. Guys, thanks for you made this live stream possible. I really appreciate that. I will see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I will schedule with Dave to do another live stream maybe next week or the week after. I really, really appreciate you guys hanging out, and I will see you in the next live stream. Take care.